Okay, so hi everybody, and welcome back to the Faith Brunel's Insights podcast. I'm Faith Brunel, and this is season 6 and episode 10. And today we are joined by the lovely Arti. Hi, Arti, how are you today?
I'm feeling really good. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful. It's good to have you here on the Faith Brunel's Insights podcast. So, without further ado, I know I have loads of questions that I want to get into today, but could you briefly introduce yourself to the listeners for us, please?
I'd love to. Okay, top line then. I'm Arti. My first career was in television. I spent more than 15 years as a television presenter, reporter, and producer. Started at the BBC, but spent the bulk of my career at ITV. And news and current affairs was my background. So I covered, as you can imagine, all the big stories: the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, 9/11, general elections. Um, and that's where I really cultivated the art of storytelling, designing messages, delivering them. And I took those skills into the world of business. So after 15 years in television, I embarked into the world of business. With my business partner, we co-founded 3 companies in a recession. Two grew parallel to reach 7 figures, became profitable, and we worked with some of the world's biggest brands. One was a PR agency, the other a creative design agency. Last year, after 10 years, I exited both those businesses. And throughout it all, I have coached and trained thousands of individuals on what is their message and how to deliver it.
Wonderful,
So
Artie.
that's
That is wonderful. That is wow. That is a long bit about you. That is excellent. Honestly, I just grabbed a post-it note here just to make some extra notes, Artie, in case I could quickly formulate a question I could ask you on the spot. Honestly, it's so good to have you here, and really, I can tell that you're very passionate. And your presence really fills the virtual room. So it's really good to have you here. Thank you for setting the context, really, and talking about your journey. Because here at Faith Brunel Insights, we say it's not an event; it's a journey. But your journey can begin now, and I have no doubt that that story, even just that brief part of your journey that you've just spoken about, is definitely inspirational as well. So thank you so much. I really want to get stuck into it straight away, but this is a question you haven't had. But what tips would you give to those who kind of are, to people who are entrepreneurial and want to start their own business?
Okay, so I've got a couple of tips that I'd say. Number one, you'll hear it a lot. People say, you must be passionate, you must be passionate. And of course, you have to really be passionate. But passion alone will not get you far, because if there's not a market or you can't sell your products or services, then it's just not a business. So I would say actually focus more than anything else. I've learned over the years that when you're really focused on something, you tend to achieve it.
Yes.
So focus, and hand in hand with focus goes persistence. So when I look back, and hindsight's a fantastic thing, and I've got 30 years now to look back on, but when I look back, I can see that I might have, my route from A to B was never straight, but I never lost sight of where B was.
Right.
So I would probably say, there will be things, there will be forks in the road, there will be crossroads, you will take detours, all of that will happen. That is just called life.
Yeah.
But be persistent. Just, when you want to do it, you'll find a way.
Yes.
And there's a lovely saying, actually. It says, if opportunity doesn't present itself, then build the door.
Yes. Excellent,
So,
Artie. That's excellent.
That saying, isn't there? Opportunity doesn't knocking on your door.
Yes.
Then build the door.
And build the door. Wow, that is excellent. That is an inspirational quote, and I'm glad that I asked that question, even though that you never had these. Even though you never had that particular question hitherto us starting the interview today. But really, that is very, very important to be persistent, because as you said, you can have passion, but if there's no market, if you're not persistent with that, as you said, and you mentioned that in life there are roadblocks, in life there are difficulties and struggles, but it's about us pushing ourselves and being persistent to push beyond those struggles. And that's how we become successful. So thank you, Arti, for really highlighting and honing in on that, because I think a lot of people will say, oh, it's good to be passionate, but as you mentioned, passion, passion and focus go hand in hand, as does having a space in that market. And really talking about then your kind of journey, is there any kind of challenges that you had to overcome in kind of setting up a number of businesses?
Look, I think challenges are a part of life. It doesn't matter my businesses. It doesn't matter if it was when I first embarked on my career in the
Yeah.
media, when everybody could make it. So I think I don't think focus on those challenges, because I think they're real opportunities for you to grow and develop. For me, some of the big challenges in our business was, I think, probably scaling the business. I think that's a common problem that a lot of SMEs tend to face. I think the other one that became quite clear was in the services-led sector, which is an amazing sector to be in. But in something like PR, where relationships are really important, you're quite led by the people. It's not like here's a product. You could sell this product anywhere. You could buy this product anywhere from anybody. In these sort of industries, in the training industry, the consultancy space, these are very much built on people and relationships. So just something to be mindful about when it comes to potentially kind of sort of, even exiting the businesses.
Very interesting, Arti. Very, very interesting as well. That's a great perspective that you've just shared, and talking about that, how, having a look at certain sectors, and the sector that you just mentioned is very heavily focused on people and relationships. It's not like a product, like, anyone can walk into a supermarket and buy like a bottle of water. But, in that, but in this kind of space that you're in, talking about PR, it is about, it is heavily led by both people and relationships. So thank you very much for answering those two questions that you never actually had. So now on to the questions you have actually had. So I do want to make sure that you're able to kind of bring through some of your great knowledge and experience. And something that I want to kind of hone in on is what you spoke about in your outset, in your context, when you were introducing yourself to the listeners. And you mentioned some of the wonderful stories that you've had the opportunity to report on. And I want to just kind of delve into that then. So how did your experience, at both BBC and ITV kind of influence your approach to coaching in media communication, and really something that's very essential in terms of confidence building as well?
Well, I think, look, I didn't know at the time. When I was in the media industry, you live and breathe the media. It's amazing. It's exciting. I felt really privileged to be in the industry and to have had that as a first career. But then when I was looking at coming out of the industry, that's when I really started kind of delving and kind of sort of thinking, well, what is it I might want to do? And I really got involved in personal development work at that time. So that became a real focus area for me. And with that came hand in hand, what are your strengths? What do you like doing? What are you good at? And after 15 years, I knew that I was good at telling the story. I was good at kind of getting to the heart of something and being able to relay it. And I remember thinking businesses aren't very good at it. So that became a bit of a natural gap. But where I immediately went wrong was I started creating courses like Success is a Journey and the Mind Map. And, there's absolutely no bite with them because people didn't know what that was at that time. And then the minute I started saying, I can help you with your presentations or how to engage better with the media, people were all of a sudden like, wow.
It was more relatable.
More relatable. So that's the one thing I'd say to people, you might not know where your strengths are, where your passions, but it will come. It will come.
Excellent. It will come. So to everybody here who's listening to this, it will come. Even if you're not sure about if you're not sure about the skills you have at the moment, it will develop. They will evolve as you continue to move through life and through your journey. So thank you, Arti, again, just for really embodying the core of what it means to be a successful businesswoman, which you really are. And actually talking about women, what actually inspired you to focus specifically on empowering women in becoming confident communicators?
So I think, look, I've worked with both men and women, and they're both are amazing, and we can't do one without the other. So I just want to stress that. I think both are really important in the conversation. But what I found was earlier in my career, when we look at those people right at the very top, they were not the women. They to be the men. And what's been really encouraging is seeing a lot of work, research, a lot of studies, and a lot of movement in this area. So now women are climbing up the ranks, and now they are doing well. And now, you do have women on the boardrooms of FTSE 100s, 250s. Women are starting their own businesses. So it's been really encouraging to see all of that. But, women do also have a lack of confidence, and it's a really interesting space. So I think it comes, there's a lot there, to be honest, to unpack. But if we just look at the core things, then we have to look at history, we have to look at heritage, we have to look at kind of sort of, how women and men have evolved over the years. We have to look at the fact that women perhaps 20 years ago were not great at championing other women when they did break through the glass ceiling. And I think we have to look at, the power play at home as well, and what's going on, because whether we like to admit it or not, a lot of women are still very responsible for childcare, for being, for organizing the household, for making sure it runs efficiently. So I think those are things that really start to impact on women's confidence. But when you unpack what confidence is, like in a nutshell, nobody's
exactly. Excellent, Arti. And actually, Arti, that really embodies something I was talking about. On Saturday, I had the opportunity to be invited down to Batham Community Centre to speak on actually a topic you've just spoken on, boosting self-confidence. And in that talk, I was saying that it's not, it's not something that we're all born with, and we don't actually wake up 100% of the time feeling the most confident that we ever felt. And so it's about nurturing ourselves and changing our mindset and kind of using affirmation and kind of learning how to deal with imposter syndrome. And so I really feel that embodies, and as you can see, you're nodding there, so you're with me, talking about, and really you mentioned a key word. It's about unpacking things. It's about understanding the context, because without context, it's pretext. And so as you're talking about, as you're talking about, in your coaching sessions as an executive coach, really what you're doing is unpacking the mindset and really understanding who the person is that you're trying to help and what they're having to deal with. As you mentioned, it's true that a lot of women are dealing with other kind of factors that do play a role and have a very grave impact on their self-confidence. Now, as an executive coach, I'm really interested in this actually. What are the key pillars or practices that you believe are essential for, for any individual really who is aiming to enhance both their communication and their professional skills?
Wow. That's a big question. I think, look, every individual is unique, is special. And I think, people come to executive coaches for a vast array of reasons. But fundamentally, they're stuck. And I often say I am not a typical executive coach either. I mean, yes, I've done the level 5 through the Institute of Leadership and Management in executive coaching and mentoring. But, I think your own personal life experiences can come into play. I think there are lots of different types of models. I like to look at lots of different areas and take bits from all of those. And to as I said, everybody's different, so everybody's style will be different and what everybody wants will be different, but fundamentally we have some models to use. But I also think it's very much around life experiences. It's very much around what is listening, really listening and reading between the lines of what they're saying. And it's also about kind of making suggestions when it's the right time to. So, often when I'm working with leaders at the very top, time is of the essence. They grasp things very, very quickly. Coaching is very much around them finding the answers, but it's also around, I believe, helping them and guiding them. And I don't think all of it is around kind of your past, though your patterns are very useful. I really also like to firmly believe that, not everybody has a great past, and sometimes that can be detrimental. We need to focus on what's happening and what the good things are, and build forward.
Very true, very interesting there. Honestly, that is very, very profound actually, in talking about your past and how your past really has an impact. And sometimes, as you mentioned as well, someone's past can still be impacting them today. And so I'm glad that, I'm glad that you shared your experience about coaching people as well. And I can imagine, Arti, based on your kind of dialogue and based on your rhetoric, that these coaching sessions would leave the person feeling uplifted and really ready to face the world and face that particular day. So thank you very much for coming on the Faith Brunel Insights podcast and just briefly sharing really your wonderful skills, your wonderful skills and everything that you've done and your experiences and your great achievements as well as a presenter, a reporter, a producer, and an executive coach. And there's so many other titles I could pull out of the dictionary, but time is limited. But honestly, Arti, thank you so much as well. And just finally then, how can the listeners contact you after the show has ended today?
So thank you, Faith, first of all, just for, oh my goodness, you've just actually put me on a pedestal right there. But I'll take it all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
How can listeners contact me? So yes, you can email me, arti@ahaction.com. I'm also quite active on LinkedIn, so please connect with me. I put a lot of really short messages, strategies, insights around communication, presentation, media, anything around, what's your message and how do you want to deliver it. So I put little nuggets of lovely information out on LinkedIn, my URL, Arti Halai. So yeah, connect with me there as well. I'd be more than happy.
Well, thank you very much, Arti, and thank you to all of my listeners once again for tuning in to the Faith Brunel's Insights podcast. This has been season 6, episode 10 with Arti and Faith Brunel, myself. So thank you, everybody. Remember, if not an event, it's a journey. Your journey can begin now. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.